I didn't realize until I started this video how crappy my background looks. Welcome to the cabin the tiny cabin that we are working on. So sorry about background. I thought just my picture here, the chicken, would be in the picture, but I guess the whole mess is in the picture here. So my apologies for how trashy my background looks, for lack of a better word. We'll clean it up for next time. I really didn't think all this stuff here would get into there. We are working on the interior of this cabin. We're working on turning it into a place where I can do videos and recipes and recordings and fun stuff like that. So it's very much into construction. I guess my cat boss has decided to join us. Hello, boss. You're going to claw on me, aren't you? Come here. You want to see everybody? This is Boss. Remember a number of months ago when I told you a story about a cat that ended up in our house during a tornado storm, a tornado warning? This is that cat. This is Boss. So Boss likes to just photobomb all my animals. They like to photobomb my live streams. So Boss, say hello, say goodbye. Let's go. Now I'm all dirty, great. He's been into something because he's all wet. So anyways, I harvested some of those elderberries. That whole woods, if you didn't see my elderberry, get out of here, Boss. If you didn't see my video from the other day, my live stream from the other day, that whole woods back there, that 5 acres, the whole thing, I got a hair right here, the whole thing is like full of elderberries. I mean, like, you walk, here's a bush. 3 feet later, here's a bush. 3 feet over there, there's a bush. So the whole woods is full of elderberries. I spent like 20 minutes out there harvesting because it was hot, and I don't know exactly. I mean, there's a lot of them out there. I don't have to worry about like missing a harvest for this year, right? Because some of them are not even, there are different areas, and some of them are not even ripe yet. Like stuff in the north ripens 2 weeks after stuff in the south. So there is a lot more out there to harvest. But look, I got this box, right? This is my box of elderberries. Look at these things. So apparently they come off very, very easily. I know this because my horse was taking this box and shaking it around like it was a toy, and I had to stop him. And you can see I got elderberry. Actually, maybe you can't see it that well. I got all over my hands. All over my hands. There's elderberry stuff, juice. I've decided what I think I'm going to do is, you guys made a lot of really good suggestions, and I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to make elderberry syrup for like colds and stuff. It's supposed to be really, really good for colds and viruses and your immune system. And my kids are starting preschool again this year. And what that means is I'm going to catch every single germ that they bring home, because that's what happens. Like, a lot of people have been messaging me like, why did you stop your podcast? And it's because these kids have been bringing home so many germs that I just keep getting sick. And it's waned over the summer, so now I'm going to start the podcast up again. But basically, starting in like March, I was just sick all the time because they were coming home with these colds and these flus and these, things that were like making me sick, right? And so I ended up coughing, and I'll be coughing for 3 weeks straight, and you can't record a podcast when you're coughing and you lose your voice, and it's this nightmare, right? And then because of all of those problems, because of all the sicknesses that they were bringing home, it was actually kind of messing with my heart, right? So I just had to take time off and deal with that, right? So my goal this year, my son starts preschool next week. My goal is I have stocked up on natural immune boosters from Young Living. I have stuff getting to me in the mail. Hi. And then I'm going to start with making stuff with these, with elderberry syrup with these, because I am damned if I'm going to be sick again all winter long because my kids, I've chosen to give my kids an education, right? That's ridiculous. So that is what I've decided I'm going to do with these. And the way I harvested them was not very special. I used a knife, and literally I just kind of hacked it off. I know that I don't know a whole ton about elderberry. What I have pretty much figured out, though, is some bushes like raspberries, they'll produce fruit in the second and the third year and beyond. Grapes do it in the first year. On first year canes is when grapes produce their fruit. I'm pretty sure elderberry is the same thing, so I didn't really feel too bad about just like whacking this off. Obviously, they are extremely prolific because when we moved here, I'm going to put this back. When we moved here, we didn't have all those elderberries out there, and these things, like, they just come like right off. It's like ridiculous. The other thing about this is they don't, I don't know, like, they don't taste that great. And I know that there's a lot of you that said that the elderberry jam is really, really good. I think, you know, what we'll end up having is whenever you make a syrup, you always make like a butter, so to speak, right? So if you're making blueberry syrup, you know, which is basically blueberry juice and sugar, you're going to be making blueberry butter because you're going to have mashed up berries, right? So hold on, let me fix this so I don't look quite so dumpy. So we're going to have elderberry butter anyways. So when I make the syrup, it's just going to be a byproduct. So we'll have two things going on there. And that's something I like to do. The syrups are really good for like pancakes, in drinks. You can put them on ice cream. The other thing about syrups is you can not the syrup but with the juice. You can also make like vinegar with it, like a fruit vinegar with it. And then if you do it right, I'm not the foremost expert on making like homemade wine. Believe me, we don't drink wine or anything, but I have accidentally made it in the past. So with the juice and kind of like making a syrup, you can also make something similar to like an elderberry wine. So I'm a big fan of not making jam like right off and making more like a syrup or expressing the juice, and then also making a butter with the remnants of making, you know, that juice or that syrup. So Jackie says she just made jelly a couple weeks ago and she has a recipe there, so that would be a good recipe for me to check out. But that's sort of like my feeling when it comes to fruit. Like, yeah, you know, you can make jelly and jams, but I like to kind of try and squeeze as much benefit out of it as I can, right? So that's the deal with the elderberries. So basically what I'm going to do is I got my handy dandy thing right here, which already has an elderberry in it. How about that? And I guess they just come off like this. And I guess I'll just sit here and get elderberry juice and stain my hands with it, which will not make me happy. I don't like getting my hands stained, so I usually wear gloves, but I don't have any. So they're coming off really easy like that. That's pretty interesting. Going back real quick to the whole elderberry syrup for colds and everything, the thing I noticed about these, I did eat some of them out there. They're not really my cup of tea taste-wise. Some of them were more, but some of them were a little bit bitter, some were a little bit old tasting. They tasted a little bit fermented. Hold on, let me pull this off. I don't need that. So the syrup might be a better use for these berries on our farm than like jellies and jams might be. That's just, you know, again, that's just going to be a taste thing. You might harvest. Who is doing what out there? One of those animals is like, I'm telling you, it's like, well, number one, the animals steal the show, and number two, like, this is like, I want to call it Animal Farm, but I don't like that connotation because of the George Orwell book, but it's like freaking romper room here all the time with these animals. They just do whatever they want to do. I don't know quite I'll have to like think of like a term for it, like a word for it, right? Anyways, but the taste of these is not going to get me up in the morning, you know, as opposed to like raspberry or strawberry or blueberry, right? So again, the syrup is probably going to be what I do with it. You know, there's like, you just do a search online. There's got to be like 3.8 million returns on that search, right? So I don't have any concerns. Like, one of my friends is Lori Neverman of Common Sense Homesteading. I'm pretty sure she has an elderberry syrup recipe I'll go for. I trust Lori and her opinions and her knowledge. I know that she is really into, oh, these damn flies. I know she's really into like herb lore and stuff. So, oh, there's a bug on here. Okay, well, that's nice. So anyways, that's something I can sit here and do for the next I don't know, 3 hours. That's the other reason I didn't want to harvest too many at once, is because I was kind of like, well, how long am I going to be able to do this before I feel like I don't want to do it anymore, right? I don't know about you guys, but I only have so much time and energy to doing, I don't know. Like, I like doing stuff like this, but I don't like doing it all day, because then it's, you know, I don't know. It becomes a little bit tedious. Let's go with that. But again, this is going to be worth it because I know that this is organic. Like, so they're all off here now. Anyways, I know it's going to be all organic. I know it's going to be not put with pesticides. I know it's going to be the real thing, right? Because I know it's going to be the real thing because, like, so a lot of times people say to me, well, why can't I get this on Amazon? Why can't I buy elderberries on Amazon? Why can't I get essential oils on Amazon? And the reason why is you can. I mean, I'm not going to come to your house and tell you you're wrong, but you can't always be sure that, one, it's what you're actually buying, and two, that it hasn't been adulterated in some way, right? So at least with these, I know that they're actually elderberries, and I know that they are raised organically, right? Because I raised them myself. Now, the other thing, though, is there was a little bit of a discussion about, damn it, hold on. There was a little bit of discussion about whether these were elderberries or whether these were pokeweed. Now, if there's one thing I know in this world, I know pokeweed because we got a lot of it. And I know this is pokeweed because the old timers around here, they're like, oh, you got a lot of pokeweed in your yard. And I'm like, yeah, I know. You want it? I don't. It's good for, like, okay, so like I said, you know, the other day, the old timers, or like in survival situations, you can actually eat the leaves. Now, my piece of advice with this, and I'm going to lean in here because I'm really serious about my advice with this. The berries are poisonous, okay? So the berries, whatever. See, I don't even know if this is, this is not blood. This is like juice. I don't know if this is elderberry juice or pokeweed juice, so I'm just going to wipe that off. Give me 1 second. Somebody texted me. Tina says she loves poke salad. So yeah, so you can eat the leaves. But what I tell people, what my piece of advice is, and y'all who have, all you people out there who have more like experience eating poke can correct me if I'm wrong. I tell people that once the berries form, to not eat the leaves at all. She said it's poisonous and has to be boiled. See, I hear contradictory opinions on that. Like, again, understand, like, I don't eat pokeweed myself, so I don't really know, but the old timers here, they say you can just pull it off and eat it in a salad. But like I said, once the berries form, I know the berries are very poisonous. I actually don't even feed anything like this to my goats. Like, I don't care if I strip the berries off. I don't feed it to the goats. I do feed the goats and the rabbits like young pokeweed, immature pokeweed. I feed it to them and it's been fine. It's not a problem. But you can tell the difference between pokeweed and elderberry when you see them together. So this is what, I don't know how well you guys can see it. This is what the immature pokeweed looks like. It's got these like little, hold on, got flies on me. It's got these little like dents here. Oh, hold on, put everything down, man. So you can see, yeah, you can see those now. There's little dents right there. Hopefully you can see that. That is what it looks like. The leaves on pokeweed, I wish I had, hold on, I'm white. Well, this is what the leaves sort of on pokeweed look like. This is not what an elderberry looks like, an elderberry leaf looks like, or stem. People driving by. I think it's my husband's uncle. Really? You guys listen. My husband, his uncle lives there. The house his grandfather built is like there. I mean, like, this whole road is like my husband's family, and it's like ridiculous. He knows, like the cousin 3 times removed, and their grandkids and their nieces, they all live on the street. So if somebody drives by, 9 times out of 10, if it's not the sheriffs like being jerks and driving by our house, it's someone from their family. But anyways, I digress. The leaves, the way that this is like the leaves and the way that they come off the stem are different than pokeweed. And I wish I had a pokeweed stem here I could show you. Maybe I do. Oh, maybe I do. Hold on. Going through my box of pokeweed. Oh no, it's my box of elderberry. So if you look how this leaf is versus how this leaf is, they're very different. They're like the different colors, they're different shapes. These are rounded, these are more oblong. These have teeth. These are more like wrinkled. They don't really have teeth. So that's one way you can tell the difference just based on the leaves and by the berries. But if you look, and I hope I'm not all like pixelated right now, but if you look at the two berries side by side, you see how they're very, very different, right? I'm trying to like not, you know, be inappropriate here. Get off me, bug. But you can see how even like the way that they are on the branch, they're different. The shapes of the berries, these are totally round. These are more like a little bit like, I don't know what you would call it, but like, they're like, I don't know, these are more spherical, these are not spherical. I don't quite know how to like better describe it. But you can see they're extremely different, right? So it's easy to confuse them if you don't know what you're looking at because the colors are the same. But these are even a bit bigger. I also think that these happen to be smaller. Hold on. Like, no, they're about the same. These ones might be a little bit bigger. But, you know, they're not even like really the same size. They don't come off the branch in the same way. So like these are more clusters. These are more individual coming off of a single stem. So you see that you know, you can see a little bit better on this one, right? So you see how they look very, very different. So that's one thing I used to determine what these berries were. I looked at, you know, how do they come off the stem? Like what shape are they? How are they formed on the branch? Are they in clusters? Are they individual like these ones, right? What do the leaves look like? You know, do the leaves look like this? Or do the leaves look like this? You know, all these things to help you identify what the plants are. And I'm not the world's best forager, believe me, but I know pokeweed when I see it. So I thought that, you know, is just something I kind of wanted to show you guys because I don't want you going out there eating pokeweed berries and killing yourself. That's not good, right? Saving lives here. Monica says I'm not inappropriate. That's good. I try very hard to be inappropriate, but obviously I feel I have to be picked out of this situation. So I'm not going to be able to fill up this whole thing with elderberries, I'm quite sure, but it works quite well on a pinch to actually collect anything. I didn't want to put them all in a bucket and have the bucket be dirty, and then I'm like making jelly or syrup out of dirty berries, right? So the other thing is when I harvested these, I tried really hard to, hold on, I'm trying to get this one. I wonder if I do this. Hold on, if I do this, no, that doesn't do anything. I thought maybe if I did this, but it doesn't. You have to actually pick them all up individually, like I have nothing else going on with my day. But I tried to pick the ones that were mostly ready to be harvested. You know, like this one's got kind of like a little bit of green on it left, you know. So the ones that were like overly green, so when they're immature, hold on. I'll pull out the right one here. Okay, when they're immature, this is a good one to show you. This is one that's got big old berries on it too. They still don't look though like these, right? When they're immature, they're green like this, right? And then they ripen into, you know, the deep purple ones. My guess is, knowing what I know about harvesting berries, again, or harvesting grapes and harvesting raspberries, you probably want to, you know, harvest them before they get too overripe. Like some of these look like they might be like a little bit overripe, and that's like when they're going to start tasting like fermented crap, basically. I'm not going to say they taste like fermented wine, because they don't. They taste like fermented crap because, you know, there's no, you know, art to it. Let's put it that way. Like you're not using yeast. You're not using. It's just sort of fermenting in there. Now I imagine though, because I think the seed is inside. Actually, I know the seed is inside because it's a berry, right? Hold on. Let me see if I can get these out. I'm imagining because the seeds are inside. I don't know if you guys can see those. Hold on. There we go. That's what the seeds look like. That the fermenting is necessary in order to get rid of the outer coating so that they can drop to the ground, be eaten by, oh, there's a bunny, be eaten by birds, and then more elderberries come on my property, right? So the fermenting process is kind of like tomatoes, where if you want to harvest tomato seeds, if you want to, then you have to let it ferment to get the casing off. This is probably the same thing, where it goes through the fermenting process to drop the seeds. Hi, Rabbit. You want to come be a YouTube star too? YouTube, Facebook, right? You gonna come over here? We have a rabbit that runs around, his choice, and he just, I don't know what he does here. I guess he just keeps the lawn tidy, but we don't have any predators really, so he's, doing okay. He's running away now. Okay. He came over to say hi and then he left. I guess we weren't exciting enough for him, right? So Monica says, are you fermenting them? Probably not. I don't know. We have so many. Like, I don't know how much this is going to be. Like, literally, this is like a whole box. This whole thing is filled. Oh, really? I just dropped it. Hold on. This whole thing is filled with elderberries. There we go. So we might have enough to make elderberry syrup, and then we might have enough to make wine. I don't know. I'm gonna have to see. It also takes, as you can see, it takes kind of a bit of time to actually like harvest this thing. If anybody has a faster way of harvesting these things, I'm all ears, because it's like, that's not working, so I have to sit here and like peel them all off, and then I got crap all over my hands. So I don't know how many of these are going to actually be harvested, which is fine. The birds can have the rest of them. The horses are not eating them. I noticed that. If they were, they'd probably all be drunk by now. But no, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to ferment them or not. I'm not sure. I might try. I don't know. I'm guessing that it takes a lot more to make like alcohol out of them, right? Like, it takes like a lot more than just like what I got in this box here. So that's the deal with the elderberries. I thought that was kind of interesting. But that whole woods, it's like chock full of them. Like, I didn't even know that we had that back there. Like, I didn't know we had these on the farm. So I guess, that's the deal. It's not super, I don't know, is this like thrilling for you guys? I don't know if it's thrilling for you. It's kind of interesting to me. But I'm also sitting here like, these people have to be totally bored out of their mind listening to me go on and on and on about elderberries. So what are your favorite ways to preserve and to celebrate? Let's go through and celebrate elderberries. Like, do you make wine? I know somebody out there said that they make jelly and jams. What do you guys do? Do you make the syrup with them? Do you make wine with them? It seems like we got a lot of wine drinkers out here today. But yeah, so like this is like a little, I don't know, like I probably honestly being serious about it, I probably could harvest all of these in this box in like an hour. So I guess given the amount of time it would require me to do it, would be, it's fine. If I had to spend all day sitting here doing this, I probably would like not do it. But an hour is fine. I can just sit here for an hour and do this and watch some Netflix, right? Netflix and elderberry, right? Come over to my place and we'll Netflix and elderberry. There it goes, off. All of it off. Now I'm going to put it right here because I don't want to throw it on the ground and then have a rabbit pick it up, or squirrels can have them all they want to. I don't like squirrels, but anyways, I don't want an animal picking it up and then getting poisoned by it, because I don't really know if rabbits can have them. I don't really know. So, okay, so Monica says that if you have no intention of consuming them yourself, ferment them to make a soil input. That's interesting. So what's the advantage of that versus, I don't know, something else? Like, cause soil, like usually what we do with our soil here is we either, put compost in it, we'll put eggshells in it for calcium, like in the fall we'll do that, but usually what we usually do is we put manure in it. Like, because of the horses, we got so much flipping manure here, we're like rich with manure, If manure was gold, we'd be like very, very wealthy. So I'm not sure, that's usually what we put in our raised beds. So I'm curious to know what advantages there are to putting fermented elderberries in there. Probably, like, I can take a stab at it. Probably, you know, one, it would probably make it kind of acidic, number one. Number two, I wonder what that would do to the pH. But number two, it would introduce beneficial bacteria, but the beneficial bacteria from fermenting is anaerobic, whereas this is an oxygenated environment, so I think that they would be overtaken like that. So I'm curious to know, like, what your experience with that is. You know, I'm curious to learn more about that. But usually what we do if we want to improve soil is we put manure in there. It says the seeds are carbohydrates, so good for beneficial microbes. That is true, yes. So I'm just going to sit here and keep doing this because I'm curious to find out what the benefit is to adding fermented elderberries to your soil. I'm always curious to learn new things. She says she ferments a lot. I ferment a lot too. And you know what? I'm looking at these new, they're not new, they're new to me, but some of those new devices to ferment where you don't have to use the whole, like there's an airlock involved, don't get me wrong, but you don't have to use the whole, like, canning jar. And because you know what the thing about it is, I've noticed, is that with fermenting in, like, a mason jar, the canning lids get all rusted so easily, right? So I'm trying to, and I don't like that at all. I don't know, you know. So I'm trying to find, like, a new way to do it. I know you can do it in a crock, but we don't have that here. And I like the idea of an airlock because it's just kind of like, I tend to be clinical about this kind of stuff. So I want to know that nothing can get in there, right? And technically speaking, if whatever you're fermenting, if it's underwater or under some sort of liquid, it's in an anaerobic environment. But I still like to have the airlock there to release all of the air. I don't know. A little bit modern invention that I am into. Get off me, fly. So, yay. Purple. I really hope that this comes out in the shower because I don't know why I care, because I don't see anybody on a regular basis, but I guess I just don't want it on my hands. We have, she says she uses buckets, easy peasy, don't use water. You know what? We used buckets once too. So a number of years ago, she says she doesn't use water. Well, a number of years ago, we were getting produce from one of the grocery stores around here for our pigs. And it would literally be, like, when the one girl was in charge, it would, oh, there's like a stick worm on this. Hold on. There you go. Can you see it? He's like, please don't eat me. Anyway, so we were getting this produce, and it was so much produce that we couldn't bring it into the house because we just didn't have the room for it. We would put it in 5-gallon buckets, like food grade 5-gallon buckets, and then we would ferment it. Okay, Guy, you can go right here. We would put it in these 5-gallon buckets and ferment it. We would put it under water and use a second 5-gallon bucket to keep it under the water line. And that stuff stayed fresh, like, for like at least a week. I mean, if not longer. I mean, and we're talking, and what I mean is, like, we're talking like it was kept under the tree over there in the sun, in the heat. Not really in the sun because it would be in the shadow the whole time, but you know what I mean. And it stayed fresh, literally, I want to say like up to 10 days. I said up to a week before, but it was probably closer up to like 10 days. And it was like, it didn't look deteriorated at all. It didn't look bad. It didn't smell bad. The pigs ate it. They were fine with it. So it was really, really interesting that we were able to do that. So yeah, I have fermented in 5-gallon buckets also. And get off me, bud. And I liked it. So, alright guys, well, I think I'm going to go here and keep doing this. Probably inside, where my kids can get involved. There's another person coming down the road. I don't know who that guy is. This guy's driving by with, like, a generator in his truck bed. Anyways, I'm going to go inside and keep doing this, and then once I start making elderberry syrup, I will let you... There's another little worm on here. Really? Hold on. I don't know if you guys like creepy crawlies. I don't really mind bugs like this. Here, you want to go over here? There we go. Okay. But yeah, once I start making elderberry syrup, I will probably be doing lots of videos and blog posts on that. So you guys can keep up with that on those blog posts, etc. So that's what we've gotten in the space of time that we've been sitting here chatting. That's how far I've gotten. It's going to be kind of interesting to see how long this takes me. And then I don't even know how much I need for elderberry syrup. I'll have to go and look at some recipes and see. Alright guys, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you have enjoyed my 5-minute lesson on elderberry versus pokeweed. And I hope you feel enlightened and somewhat more knowledgeable. And yeah, okay guys. Hold on. Monica sent me some sort of emoji down there. I'm going to look at it when I have my glasses on. But I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and I will see you soon. Bye.